a guest who is going to talk about her journey with us, her journey as she has experienced depression. And I literally, she's been a guest on my show before, on my podcast actually, and you can find that on YouTube. You can find it on Facebook and LinkedIn under Heart to Heart with Saima. But the reason I asked her to come, and I will let her do her own introduction, is because most people do not want to talk about they do not want to talk about their journeys. They do not want to talk about mental health issues. So everything just gets you just slide it under the rug. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to share what you're experiencing. So few days back, I had seen that my guest, who I'm going to bring on, Krista Samimi, Krista had shared on social media what she was experiencing with her mental health. And when I read it was so, there was so much vulnerability. It was heartfelt, talking about her depression, that I wanted her to bring her on so she can talk about her depression. She can talk about what she experiences as a bipolar individual, and just to give people encouragement that it is okay to talk about it. It is okay to look for treatment. It is okay to share your emotions with others, especially in our community. We do not want to talk about mental health issues, but we should. So, Krista, welcome. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you so much, Simon, for this opportunity. Such an important topic. And, when you said, things sometimes get swept under the rug, that's how I grew up. So my dad had bipolar and he had depression as well. And he would have all these episodes. Actually, first I should say, disclaimer, I am not a clinician. I'm not a doctor or nurse. I'm just speaking from my own experiences. And so if you ask me questions, you can ask me questions directly about my experience, but I can't give any like medical advice.
Thank
Um,
you for sharing that. And Krista, before you dive in, if you guys have any questions for Krista, and you need to share your journey or your thoughts, Krista is going to be here with me for the next 25 minutes before we go on our break. The number to the studio is 214-817-3333. So go ahead, Krista.
yeah. So what I was saying, just like growing up, my dad had, this bipolar. We really didn't know what it was back then. His depression would get so bad that he had multiple suicide attempts when I was in high school. And I just remember like everything was very hush hush. Like he would literally, I was a sophomore in high school, and I remember clearly coming home from school that day, and there was an ambulance and a fire truck in the driveway, and I didn't know what was going on. My dad was being carried out on a gurney, went to the hospital. They had pumped his stomach because he had taken all of his medication. He was trying to take his life. And then he had to go to a psychiatric hospital for 72 hours after that. And I remember coming home, and we're all, the four of us, small family, but the four of us sitting at dinner, eating our dinner and carrying on conversation like nothing had happened. And at that age, like I didn't know like what to say or what to ask, but it was very uncomfortable. And so those
Krista, how
experiences,
old were you?
I was a sophomore in high school.
So maybe around, you were around 16,
16,
15,
yeah.
16. Wow.
Mhm.
Such a tender age, right?
Yeah. And it kind of, like it kept me to like keep things bottled in. And I never really wanted to like ask questions because I was scared what the answers might be. And so growing up that way, and then at me getting my own diagnosis when I was 24, I got diagnosed with bipolar. And if you're not familiar with what bipolar is, it's also known as manic depression. So you can have really high highs and really low lows. And the way it showed up for me in 2001, I was under a lot of stress at work. I started to sleep less. Like at first I was sleeping, 8 hours a night. Then it was like 7 hours, 5 hours. And then I was up at all hours of the night. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't know what was going on. But what happened was once the sleeping, I wasn't sleeping. My mind started to race and have thoughts that like weren't true, like things like people were after me, and I became really paranoid. So at that time, I reached out to my parents. We went to a psychiatrist. I got a medication, everything. And for a long, long time, I was very successful in the career that I was in. I was in corporate America at a pharmaceutical company, and I just carried on. But I had like a lot of depression in and out of that because sometimes the medications wouldn't work. And I just remember days where I'd be driving in my company car to a doctor's office to promote my products with like tears just coming down my eyes. And I didn't know why. And it was so much like fake it till you make it. Like I was the girl that had the smile on, but behind the smile, I was falling apart inside. I just had to like pull myself up on my bootstraps, carry on, go to work, do the thing. And that's how I lived for many years. And then I got really involved with advocacy work because I wanted to basically take my experiences and share them with others and create support groups and just do things so that I could like process everything that I've been going through. And so I did that for a while. My dad would join me. My dad and I had like a unique bond. And it wasn't like literally like as Saima said, last week I wrote a post on Facebook. And what happened was I literally have not felt depressed for like over 2.5 years. I've been doing so well. I found some holistic supplements and some holistic therapies that have really helped me. But what happened was about a week and a half ago, or starting on June 4th, my insurance company was delayed in being able to refill my medication for my bipolar. And so I just decided like, okay, let me just cut the dose in half so I don't run out. And that's how it started. And so I cut the dose of my medication, which I highly do not recommend, doing anything with your medications without your doctor's approval. But this is what I did. And so for those 2 days when I was on the lower dose, I all of a sudden felt this like, oh, less medication. My mind is more clear because the medication I'm on makes me have a lot of brain fog. And oftentimes that's what a lot of people with depression and stuff mention, is that the side effects of the medication. So I just noticed I was clearer and I had more energy. So I kept going on the lower dose, and I was very hyper aware. I was concerned I would get manic. So I was very aware, okay, I'm still sleeping. Everything's fine. I'm not getting manic. I'm not having paranoid thoughts, anything like that. But it just sort of crept up on me. And all of a sudden, my husband was noticing that I was changing, and I was started to sleep a lot. Like I started to just lay around on the couch. I don't normally do that. Like I'm always up doing things. He's like, why are you on the couch? What's going on? So it started off like that. And then it just hit me like a rock. Like literally, I just felt paralyzed on the couch. Like I just couldn't get up. I felt like I was dying. My thoughts were so dark and dreary. And I was just wishing that I would go to sleep and I wouldn't wake up. Like I didn't want to harm myself, but that was the thoughts that were going through my mind, is that my son, who's 4, I was thinking, you know what? He's better off without me than me as his mom. And I
So,
just
so many negative thoughts were just penetrating your mind, and you. So, what did you do then?
Well, I literally, that Monday, which is like a week and a half ago, I literally just slept on the couch for like 8 hours because that was the only piece. And it's, I tell people all these different tools that you can do: exercise, eat healthy, do all these things. But when you're in the thick of the depression, you don't feel like doing any of it. You barely feel like getting up to go to the bathroom. Like I was so down and out. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I can just sleep this off. And my husband's like, you really need to go back on your prescribed dose because clearly this is happening because you lowered your medication. So I went back on the subscribed dose, and all of that Monday I was out. Tuesday I started to feel a little bit better. The medication was kicking back in. And I told myself, okay, you can sleep on the couch until 11, but then you have to get up. You got to walk around. You got to go outside. You just got to move. You got to move your body and move the emotions around.
So were you able to, Krista?
I did,
I
yes. I
know
mean,
you
it
gave
wasn't
yourself
much.
you
Yeah,
gave
it
yourself this
wasn't much.
time,
I
right?
walked around the backyard, and
Yeah.
my good friend Jen Russman always says, motion moves emotion. So as much as I wanted to just stay stuck on the couch, I knew I had to just get up and move around and do things, and kind of do some things to distract me too. Like I cook some food and just anything to get my mind off of my thoughts, because there's such dark, hopeless thoughts. Like it,
So, Krista, how important is having a good support system around you?
good support system is vital, you guys. Like somebody that you trust. It doesn't have to be a family member, but somebody that you trust, that you can talk to, and they can kind of like knock some sense into you. Because I reached out to my good friend Sarah, I reached out to Jen Russman, and it really makes all the difference. Because when I was in the depression, I just feel so alone. Like I just go, God, nobody else has felt this way. I'm the only person that is feeling this right now. But it's not true. It's like we need to be in community and being able to be compassionate and understand one another. So support systems are so, so vital.
Because so here's a double-edged sword, Krista.
Mm-hmm.
So mental health, it's not visible. People cannot see it, right?
Yeah.
So when people cannot see it, when families coming, are we are focusing on, the radio show is centered around the Southeast Asian community, people from Pakistan, people from India, from Nepal, from Bangladesh,
Mm-hmm.
and there is not a whole lot of awareness for mental health issues. So
Mm-hmm.
when men or women, when they suffer from mental health issues, it's a major problem, because even though people around you might love you, but they don't understand why you can't move. They don't understand why you're stuck in this silence. They don't understand why you don't have energy. They don't understand why you can't move. So how, I mean, the reason for you being here, the reason for bringing Bieta after you, and that's my intention moving forward, to create this awareness for mental health issue. How do we? What are the signs? What are the symptoms? What are loved ones? First of all, I think right there is the key word. It's love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you truly love people, then you need to understand what they are going through and make time and show compassion and show love, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and there's different cultural things. Like I know, like my husband's culture, he's Muslim, and there's been some things that happen in the family, but none of them go to therapy. They don't believe in it. And it's hard until somebody like in the culture has like experienced it, and they're sharing their story. And that is like super important. People hear all the time, like, oh, so and so, I didn't know, but this is what they've been going through. And then people start to relate, oh my gosh, I've had that as well. So having that community, that it's safe to say something. But in terms of like the signs and the symptoms, like you said, like physical health, someone breaks their arm, you see the broken arm. With mental health, it's very different. But if you see somebody who's normally social and interactive, and you see them withdraw, you haven't heard from them for a couple of weeks, these kinds of things you can look out for. Because so withdrawing is one of like the key things that happens in depression, because people don't want to be around their family. They don't want to be around people unless they're like me and they're really good at putting the smile on, acting like everything's okay.
And
But
that's what the vast majority of the world wants, right? The vast majority of the world wants to be
oh, I think you went on
accepted.
mute. Oh, there. You're on mute.
happy children, right? The social environment is that you see kids who are happy, they listen to everything the parents have to say, they follow instructions, they're quiet, they're obedient, and those are the kids and those are the people everyone wants to love. But when you might have ADHD, when you are hyper, when you are boisterous and you want to run around and create noise and you are not that person, then nobody will say, hey, you are amazing because you are the boisterous one, right? You are amazing because you are out there playing in the mud, breaking things, while experimenting with things, while your cousin or sibling or friends is sitting there respectfully doing, just sitting, not making a noise. That's the standard, right? That's the
Yeah.
norm.
Yes. Yes. And it's not that easy, if you have clinical depression, it's hard to go to work. It's hard to care for your family, and it's a mental it's I mean it's a health condition no different than diabetes or heart disease. It's just that, everyone will sit around the table and talk about like what their cholesterol levels are, but no one's really going to talk about like, oh man, I haven't felt myself. Like, and that's literally what it is like, you haven't felt like yourself, like you don't do the things that you normally enjoy. Like I couldn't even get myself to go to yoga last week. I love going to yoga. I don't miss yoga, but I didn't feel like going to yoga. And it's that kind of stuff. It can start just as little as that. Um,
So, Krista, I know you've gone through recently, you've gone through a really, really uh, tough time because you went through an episode. Um, what helped you bring or every time you go through it? Now, being bipolar is something that just makes your mental health even more challenging than just mental health issues are. How do you cope?
well, exercise helps me a lot. Like I said, the motion moves emotion. If I'm feeling, anxious in my body or tense or whatever is going on, get on my stationary bike or go to yoga or go take a walk. Like exercise is important no matter what, but it really is good for your mental health. I also do meditate every morning because it just helps me quiet my mind because I have a very like active mind. So the meditation helps, and just being mindful and aware of like my emotions, because it's one thing to be like, okay, I'm feeling something, like is it okay to feel this, or does this have to do with like my bipolar mood? So it's just really being like hyper aware of what I'm doing, but like exercise helps a lot.
Um, Krista, do you have any thoughts on how important compassion and kindness is uh, for families to be with each other, for families to communicate with each other, for you to see for you to see a licensed therapist?
Yeah.
Any other thoughts you would like to share?
Yeah, well, compassion, as we talked about, is so important. And it's really important to like remember that the person is still the person, right? But they have like some depression, and so maybe they might say some things a little bit weird, or they're really discouraged and they're having dark thoughts. But just to always remember that like that person, that family member or that friend, they're still there. They just have something else that's making it a struggle for them to feel good. Hi, Beata. um, but yeah,
So,
just having compassion. Like my husband, like he is so sweet. Like even when I'm so difficult, he just has patience with me, and he doesn't pass judgment. Like, why is she thinking that? Why is she saying that? Because he knows he just needs to be supportive, and that I always say this too shall pass. It's not going to stay forever, and it's temporary. But yeah, it was very humbling last week.
Well, you're a very brave soul,
Oh,
Krista, and anyone who suffers from mental health issues, suffers from depression, suffers from, different aspects of mental health, they are it's not just women, it's men as well. And you need kindness and you need compassion. And with that, Krista, thank you for being here. It
you're
takes so
welcome.
much courage to come out and put your story out there and share your most vulnerable self, and put your vulnerabilities out there, for other people to feel encouraged, and for other people to feel that, hey, you know what, there's someone else, because nobody wants to talk about it, right? So there's just hush, 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 nobody wants to talk about it. So
Yeah.
there's no solution to the problem because nobody wants to talk about it. So thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate you, and I'm there for you if you need anything, if you need just someone to, you know what, the Facebook live is going on. Hop on Facebook live every time you want to talk,
Thank
and we share
you.
we share it with everyone. And with that, I do have Beata here, and Beata is
Awesome.
going to join us, to talk more in at 2:35 when we come back from the break. And while we have these last few minutes off, the before we go into break, I hope that helped you guys, because the intention of bringing Krista on, or bringing anyone on, is to share their stories, is to just give you courage. सिर्फ आप लोगों को ये बताना कि हर इंसान जिंदगी के अंदर, किसी को नहीं पता कि बंद दरवाजे के पीछे क्या क्या चैलेंजेस चल रहे हैं, कौन से इश्यूज लोग फाइट कर रहे हैं. बट बी काइंड, बी मोर टॉलरेंट ऑफ मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज, बिकॉज अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे कल्चर के अंदर इतनी रॉन्ग चीज़ें शेयर हुई हुई हैं. जब भी कोई मेंटल हेल्थ इशू दिखाते हैं तो किसी पागल को दिखा देते हैं या किसी पागल खाने को दिखा देते हैं, which these things are just such wrong stereotypes which need to be broken, ताकि awareness पैदा की जा सके, ताकि solutions. By nature, I'm a problem solver. If my kids share something with me, I automatically turn into this problem solver. Okay, you know what, there's a problem, how do we fix the problem? But the thing is, sometimes you don't need to be a problem solver. Sometimes you just need to have enough empathy कि आप उस empathy को use करके you just be quiet and not talk, and instead you listen to what people around you have to say. And your loved ones, your children, your spouse, your communicate. Figure out if it's your wife or your husband, and if they are not doing something that you would like for them to do, figure out, communicate with them, ask them. If needed, go for couples counseling, go for therapy, as an individual, as a group, as a family. Because what a therapist provides to you is tools. They are not going to provide you with any solutions to the problem. They're going to provide you tools to teach you how to utilize your own thinking ability, your to channel out your emotions. I always feel that mind, body, soul, physically, mentally, emotionally, everything needs to be in sync so we can function at our optimal level. तो हमारी खुद की well-being के लिए it's imperative. So we are about to go into break, and we will see you in just a few minutes.
An ICE detainer is placed on an immigrant and they are placed in jail or receive a written notice to appear. If the person is detained,
Hey, Piana, how are
Hi,
you?
Saima. Good. How are you? My
You know,
voice is a little shaky, so I hope I'm going to go through without coughing or anything. I was just going through a lot of, throat, cough, like whatever issues. Anyway, I'm hoping it's going to just thank you for having me. So good to be back. You are amazing. You are such an inspiration. I can't even tell you. You do so many things. You are such a huge support system for the women in your group, in your network. It's incredible. I really applaud you for what you're doing because you're saving lives. You probably don't even know how many.
Thank you, Beata. And thank you for your kind words. I just say that, you know, whatever you do it. Whatever I do it for self enhancement, self improvement. I have around me people who I love, and when I see their journeys of life fluctuate, go up and down, you know, everything that I learn and every person that I meet, they enhance me and help me. I always talk about you on the radio. Um,
Ah,
Even when I started my show and I was talking about the guests who are coming on, I was telling people that mm, every guest, it's been over 2 years now, like
yeah,
almost 2.5 years since I started my podcast. And every guest who comes, they leave me more enriched and more. I learn so much from
I'm
everyone.
sure.
But
Yeah,
some guests, they will say something which I lock in my heart forever, and and I use it and I do it. And so I don't know if you remember that when we were ending our podcast, and you had told me, um, that if you love someone, then no matter what has happened, you just put it aside. It does not matter who has hurt you, how they have hurt you, what they did, because it's not about you. It's, they are right in their place, you're right in your place, whatever it is.
yeah.
And you do four things, which is you tell them I love you, you tell them, you ask for forgiveness, you let them know that, you're sorry for hurting them, and that they are enough. And I actually did that while you were on my podcast. I had typed out and I had sent it to my daughter. I had sent it to my friends.
Oh,
I do it all the time, and
oh,
I talk about it all the time. So I talk about you all the time on the radio. That this is what Beata has taught me, and I will take this with me forever, because no, there are times, no matter how frustrated I'm feeling and how angry I might feel, or how angry my kids might make me, but I just sit there and I just try to, just shake it off me, and I tell myself, okay,
you are gonna make me cry before I even go on.
but that's what I do. You've taught me that, and I take that
Oh.
with me forever, and I do it always.
Oh my God, this means so much to me. You have no idea. Like sometimes, you wonder, like, what's your purpose in life? What you are here to do. What are you meant to do? Because there is so much coming out, and you feel like you talk about everything and nothing sometimes. Like there's so much to say. Like there's so many little different angles to take.
So
And
many
it's
light
like, am
challenges,
I
right?
like who am I talking to? And sometimes it feels like like you lose the concentration at what you read, what your purpose is, like what are you really here to do. Every time I hear a message like yours just now,
Yeah.
it's like God sent, channel of energy of like, this is your purpose.
Your purpose.
That is leaving this impression, giving these tools, changing these people in these particular ways. That is your purpose. And
Yeah.
it's like you have no idea. You just gave me the vibe that just travels through my entire body right now. So thank you.
So, Beata, we're going to go live
Okay.
in 8 seconds. So, I'll do an introduction. I'll bring you on. All right. Welcome back to Heart with Saima. This is Saima Dillon, and I believe in touching lives, whether it's through my real estate, or it's through my Heart to Heart, or it's all about touching lives. Uh, कुछ भी अच्छा आप किसी के लिए कहीं भी कर सकें. Um, I did have Krista here who spoke about her depression की journey कि how it impacts her और किस तरह से वो depression अपने depression के अंदर जब होती हैं and she's also a bipolar तो किस तरह से उसकी life जो है वो बिल्कुल रुक जाती है तो जब when you have loved ones who are going through mental health issues, that's when they need our compassion, our empathy, and they need our love because love is the most powerful of emotions. And with that, I'm going to bring on Bieda. And you guys have heard, अगर आप मेरी show को regularly follow करते हैं, which I know a lot of you do because you message me and or you call us, and studio's number is 214 817 3333. So if you follow my show, you know that I always keep mentioning, Bieda, and I keep mentioning the four things that she had taught me. Anyone in your life that you love, then it does not matter if they have hurt you. It does not matter that they have, broke your heart or whatever it is, because unka apna nazariya tha. They have their own perspective. You have your own perspective. So it does not matter. But if you love someone, just reach out. Just tell them that you love them. Just tell them that you're sorry. Just tell them you're grateful to have them in your life, and you tell them that you know what, you're enough. And you do that with your children, you do that with your friends, you do that with your parents, you do that with anyone in your life that you love. And with that, hey Bieda, welcome to Heart.
Oh, Saima, how wonderful to be back. Thank you so much to have me here. And thank you for these wonderful words. The Ho'oponopono prayer is the forgiveness prayer that you referred to. And it's one of the most beautiful practices I've ever encountered in my entire life. And I certainly practice that daily myself. It had changed my life, and I know it had changed many other people's lives over the centuries, really. And it's all about love. It reminds us that life is all about love. For as long as we feel loved, for as long as we feel like we are enough to somebody, doesn't have to be to everybody, to somebody, life changes. I was listening to Krista's sharing about her experiences, and obviously that's a very heartfelt share, and so wonderful of her to come out and be so vulnerable and be so open and honest about her experience with the bipolar and the depression. And I'm obviously not a doctor. I'm not someone that can give a specific advice. But the field that I work with in life coaching, and specifically emotional intelligence, assisting people with the difficult times of change, it's very, very important to always bring to the surface the fact how we actually function as human beings, right? How are we born? Like, what is our physical makeup? The brain is made in a specific way in order to keep focus on um, providing safety and security in life. For that, the brain is automatically structured to go to the negative thought. So the first moment we wake up in the morning, we open the eyes, the mind goes, what's going to go wrong? What is going wrong today? How am I going to have to fight for my safety, for my family, for my children? Who am I going to have to fight, and how? And immediately, everything goes into this negative spin of overwhelm, of struggle. Life is hard. We have things that we need to carry always. There is a weight for us to carry, right? This is just a natural way of brain to function. It makes us feel powerless to the point of, I don't know what to do. And many people do break down. We are also made differently as human beings. We process energies differently. We mix different energies with different people in different ways. About 50% of Earth's population is functioning on something that's called emotional authority as per human design. For those of you who are familiar with human design, you'll know what I'm saying. For those of you who are not, I really, really, really support the fact to research human design and see your chart and see the energies that are actually naturally designed for you.
And
And
just one disclaimer that we just want to give in there, that Beata is a certified life coach. And so I just wanted to put that out there
thank
just
you.
to make sure. So sorry, Beata, just go ahead
No
and.
problem. Thank you. I appreciate that. So about a 50% of population runs on something that's naturally called an emotional authority, which means that all the thoughts and all the decisions are processed through feelings and emotions. And for those of us who are that way and don't understand that that's how we naturally work, it can be a very hard life. It can be a life of literally waking up in the morning and um, feeling, feeling the negative feelings about what is it that the day has for us, right? What are we looking forward to? So it is extremely important to remember that we are much more powerful than we think we are. We are much more powerful than the emotions and feelings we automatically give into. Because what we can do, we can focus on the thoughts that create emotions. Thoughts create emotions. Emotions take us to certain actions. Actions create certain energies. We feel powerless in the overwhelm, thinking somebody else has to come and fix it for us. Somebody else has to do something, or we are just incapable, or we can't, or it's too
we
long, it's too
we don't
much.
realize that everything that you need, it lies within you.
Exactly. And in fact, everything that we need does lie within us. So to work with the natural waves of the brain, of natural way the brain is actually thinking, the most important thing we can do, the biggest help we can give ourselves to not go into the negative depressive thoughts, is to bring back all the positive. So my recommendation to start the day with is to think the first thought of the day, make a thought of something or someone that you love, that gives you this feeling of overwhelming love. Is it your child? Is it another family member? Is it a husband? Is it a spouse? It doesn't matter. Think of a person, and if not a person, a situation, a moment where something happened that made you feel absolutely blissfully loved. Think of how grateful you are for this person or for that event, that it actually happened, that you have this memory, that you had this experience in your life. Think of another one. It's called stacking on feelings, on positive feelings and emotions. Think of two, three, four, as many as you want, as much time as you have. Think of as many different examples of things and people that just make you feel absolutely loved, that you can't wait to share this wonderful feeling of love with. Another thing that would be extremely helpful, and it is to some people, is to come up with your personal mantra as a first sentence that comes out of your mouth. We are very mechanical people. We can create these little habits where we just say things. Language is extremely powerful. I am is the most powerful sentence in the English language. Whatever comes after I am, I'll believe. No matter what it is, I will believe that. So say what you really want to believe after I am. Or come up with another sentence. For me lately, it has been, Beata, Are you ready for the best day in your life? Today is the best day of your life. And then the thought, the brain, the thinking, the energy switches, the direction goes into creating, the creativity kicks in, the imagination starts. Oh, okay, I can do, I can start my day with a workout, right? I can start my day with calling somebody I love and saying a quick 1-3 sentences. I love you. Thank you for being in my life. This is how you make me feel. And like, I'll call you another time. I just needed to tell you this
How
right now.
powerful is that?
Bye.
Wow, that is just so powerful, right? To just call someone and say those three things.
3 sentences. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. It's a 30-second call that will change your day, and it will change the other person's day as well. We are so powerful. We
Yeah.
are so powerful. And we forget that we have this power. Another advice and suggestion I would give is to what Krista was saying, it's helping her with her emotional struggles, is the physical activity. And as women, I can't think of anything better than dance.
Oh, I love to dance.
Right? Don't we all to dance? Don't we all love to just move the body to the music, with the
Really.
music that moves the body in certain direction?
And I tell people you don't even have to be a good dancer.
No,
You
it
want,
doesn't matter. No
you know,
one's watching. No
brooming,
one
mopping,
cares.
just put music on. If you're
Just put
cleaning,
your favorite music on.
yeah.
You don't even have to dress up in whichever way. You can close yourself in a bathroom if you have too many people in the house. You can close yourself in, you can find a little space just private for yourself, or you can include your family members in it. You can take your daughter, you can take your son, you can take your spouse. You can include them in this vibe. We are creating this vibe, the vibration
Yeah.
that's a little higher, that's a little lighter, that floats easy in the air, rather than focusing on something that weights us down and it's very, very heavy to pick up and struggle with. Life does not have to be a struggle. We still have to do what we have to do. I am not saying dance through the entire day and do nothing. What I am saying is dance with what you need to do, instead of thinking that it's a burden, that it's a struggle, that it's something you must or have to. Change the language into, I get to do this today, and this is how I choose to do it.
So, like, how about detaching yourself in your mind from your physical being and stepping outside of your physical self,
Meditation.
right? And just imagine physically just walking away, detaching yourself from your uh, your problems or the challenges which await you, and dealing with the things that are hitting you from left and right, just handling them in a non-emotional way, if I make any sense.
So here's the thing, it's very hard to be not emotional. Because as human beings, and this is a quote that comes from a book by Brene Brown, Atlas of the Heart, and also an HBO series which I highly recommend to watch and read the book. Highly recommend to understand all the feelings and emotions that as human beings we go through, and we don't always understand how. There was a quote by someone that I do not. I'm sorry, I do not remember the name of the person who said that. We think that we are thinking beings that feel, where in fact we are emotional beings that happen to think,
Oh, wow. Okay.
right? So we can't separate ourselves from a feeling and emotion. We are constantly feeling something, and letting ourselves feel what must be felt, it's perfectly okay, for as long as we can obviously handle it and not affect other people negatively through it, that we hold this for us and within us. Whatever feeling, whatever emotion goes through, it's allowed to be there. Now, the emotional intelligence part kicks in that moment to understand how. How can I hold all this emotion and still express myself without hurting somebody or offending somebody, or sacrificing something in my life that is, that would be too big of a sacrifice for me to do. So there is a healthy boundary in between. I am still emotional, but I can still see the boundaries, and I'm inviting somebody to a conversation. Now that's emotional intelligence. Balancing, it's like a balancing act.
Wow. I mean, that's I mean, it's not very easy to do. It probably is something that requires hard work and repetitiveness. Like you have to
Yes.
keep doing it on a regular basis. Keep practicing in order to be able to do
Awareness.
it.
What it requires is awareness, is self awareness. So, with that morning practice, what also is extremely helpful and important is that we start with sharing love. We share the love with ourselves first. You
And
know,
I think that right there, I've been listening to a lot of Louis Ray, and
yes,
something that she keeps emphasizing, that everything lies within us.
everything,
Everything,
everything.
and it starts with self love, love for yourself. When you start loving yourself, you will start loving everything around you. You will start respecting your boundaries. Everything starts with self love.
Here's the thing, the way we love ourselves is the same way we love our other people.
That is so powerful if people actually understand
If you can
that,
understand that, if
that
you
it's
can
not
see the
selfish.
mirror,
Yeah.
yes, we find people, we connect with people in life that mirror something that we are connecting with, that is most likely still unsolved for us. And we get triggered. We get triggered by these people and we blame them for being a certain way, where in fact they are just reminding us about what we are still looking in, I mean, what we should be looking into ourselves to work on. I'm sorry, because everything starts within. Everything starts within. How I treat myself, it's how I treat other people. How I treat others, it's how I love myself. I will love somebody else. Probably with a difference of children. Mothers to children will probably give children way more love than we'll give ourselves. But the tricky part about it is that the children are watching the way we love ourselves, right? So it's a sort of 2020 catch, because we will pretend that this is what love is about by giving it to a child, but then we will not model it on ourselves for the child. So it's a confusing message we are sending from the beginning,
I
right?
mean, I've seen that you stay in toxic environments, and
Yeah.
you say you're doing it for your children, but
Yes.
you don't realize that actually when you that toxic environment, those children of yours, they are your mirrors, they are your sponges, and that those sponges, they suck in everything from their environment. So you're actually damaging them when they get to keep
Absolutely.
sucking in that wrong energy and
Absolutely.
toxic energy.
When there is no integrity between what I say and what I do, for me, for them, for the family, for the children, if there's no integrity, if things don't align between how I am with me and how I am with all others, that's when the toxicity starts building in, right? That's where the wrong message, it's sort of leaking energy, right? I'm not as powerful as I can be if I were to actually model what I say.
And that's actually exactly the reason why you see history repeating itself.
Yeah,
When kids are in a toxic environment and they see that what their parents say, but what they do in the privacy of their home are not in sync. And so they actually are feeding from what they see and what they feel, not just what they hear. And
absolutely.
and that actually is when history repeats itself, and you see that people who are abusive have come from abusive households.
Absolutely. As I said before, we are emotional beings. We will not remember the name of the person. Might not remember the details of the event, but we will always remember what it made us feel like for the rest of the life. That feeling will always be there. Other details will, with time, sort of wither and die, but the feeling will always last. And whatever feelings we grow up with, we take them as norm. We think this is what normal is.
And the other thing I've also seen is that, Beata, I've seen that um, victim mindset, where you think that others have done wrong to you, but it's it's about taking responsibility, taking accountability. If
Yes.
you feel someone else has done wrong to you, look within yourself, look at you, see what is wrong within you. Once
Yes.
you fix that, it will automatically start changing your life.
That is a great point. Another thing I want to add to this is that it is easy to go into the victim mentality when we get to the overwhelm of life. When we think that life happens to us. It's so much going on. I can't handle it all. I'm just a victim of this person, of this situation. It's just too much. If they didn't do this, if they didn't say that, I wouldn't have to go through this. And so once again, it's so important to remember the power is within you. It's not them. It's always you, right? So if we let the overwhelm, we go into the victim state. But if we take the power, if we claim the power we have, and we start the day with, I'm worthy, I'm lovable, I love my people, I know what I'm doing, I'm excited about doing this change in my life, I'm excited about going to work, I'm excited about spending time with my children, I'm excited to get to do this project in a day today. The entire fabric of energy changes. I'm in charge. I'm the powerful person. I set the goals. I set the rules. I focus on what I can control, not what controls me. I focus on what I can control. And I do that part. And I slice my day and I slice my actions into little pieces that I can control. And I do that. And I move from one to the next. And I share my joy with others. And I put the music that I love in between. And I dance my way to the bathroom. And I call somebody for 30 seconds. I love you. I just needed to tell you this. I'll talk to you later. Bye. This is creating. This is my power. This is my personal power. This is what I can do. I can magnetize myself with my own words. I can say I'm
Repetitive thought.
horrible. I can say I'm worthless and horrible, but I can also say, hey, you know what? I
I'm
did this. I handled that. I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty strong. I've been through all this much. I can definitely handle way more than this. How will I do this? Let me just think.
So, Beata, we are in the last 20 seconds of the show. I'll let you say a final 10 seconds so I can wrap it up.
Thank you so much. The last 10 seconds I wanted to say is let the past motivate you, not stress you. Don't think about the past as something that is wrong and it's a bunch of problems. Motivate yourself with what you have and what you get to do.
HSE Wiley, 700 AM, Radio Carbon. Join the caravan.
Okay. So, give me 1 second, Beata.
Yeah.
Actually, Beata, I'll bring you on again. So, thank you all for being here. And we are going to end the show. I'll message you on Messenger I do have the other RJ here for the 3 o'clock show.
Awesome.
Thank you for being here, Beata.
Love you.
Love you.